My manager is still unemployed, we're 1 year in the future, and today we take our first steps into the Park to Prem universe to see what was next for the Green Lions. Now, of course, yesterday we did do the final episode of the series. We saw that Zidane took over as manager, and I thought today, rather than do the series review, I'd give people a couple more days to get comments on the videos, a couple more days for me to see what people want to see. And so today, the year's 2041, and I'm a little bit nervous to see what has become of my Guernsey side. We're going to run the intro, then we're going to get into things. Don't go anywhere. Park to Prem, 1, 2, and 5 years in the future. I don't know if I want to look at this. It's like going in a time capsule. I'll see you in a moment. Okay, we're here. My manager profile screen. I'm 47 years old, now a year older. Carl Farquhar, by the way, still has a negative opinion of me. I say that like I need to care. He is the worst manager ever. Remember Kyle? No one remembers Kyle. You might remember Kyle. He did score some goals for us once. He's rubbish, isn't he? Anyway, that is not why we're here. We are here to click on the name of Guernsey and see what's happened to my little team. And, well, we're a year in the future. Zidane, he's still in charge. Manny Wilford is still at the club. Grasser is the key player. Is Grasser improved? Has Grasser got better? I mean, he was already very, very good. I have noticed here, Premier League winners. Yeah, they've won the league. And they're still in the Champions League. Or maybe they're not actually. No, they're in next year's Champions League. But, and I can see it here, they've won the FA Cup. First year without me, they've won the... I might as well end the video. It's over. Now, of course, Zidane, as Arsenal manager, had won the FA Cup something like 4 out of the last 6 years. He's come to Guernsey. First year, he's immediately won it. They knocked out Man City. They knocked out Aston Villa. They knocked out Tottenham. They knocked out Palace. And then they beat Everton in the final. I mean, a semi-final 4-0 win and a final 3-0 win. In fact, no, sorry, a quarter-final 4-0 win, a semi-final 3-0 win, and then a final 3-1 win. Yeah, Guernsey just ploughed through everyone. That does now mean that Zidane has won the FA Cup 5 out of the last 7 years between ourselves and Arsenal. I've said ourselves there. Can I say ourselves? I'm going to be doing that a lot. As for the Premier League table, Guernsey won it on the, well, I was going to say on the last day of the season. Did they win it on the last day of the season? I guess technically they did. Yeah, they won 3-0 on the last day of the season. As for Man City, they won only 2-0. And the league was won on goal difference. They fixed the defence, but they've not scored as many, have they? I mean, we scored 111 goals and conceded 43. Zidane, 72 goals scored for, 21 against. What a boring way to play football. Okay, FA Cup won, Premier League won. What happened in the other cup competitions is what I'm wondering. And, well, to answer that question, Carabao Cup final won Sula and Diogo Perez with goals in the final. Interesting to see Perez playing in the first team. He played 30 league games in that time as well. Doesn't have the craziest rating, of course. I loaned him out in my final season, but he looks like he's a bit of a mainstay of the starting 11 now at Guernsey. In the UEFA Super Cup, they won 1-0 against Roma. I don't know if that means anything, but Matthew Cadman scored in that one. However, and it's a big however, they didn't win the Champions League. They were knocked out in the quarterfinals by Dortmund. They drew the first leg 1-1, and then at home, they lost 1-0. I'm looking at the stats here. Didn't have a lot of the ball, did have more shots. The formation they played was the 4-3-3 that we did see Zidane use during his initial kind of starting period at the club. You can see here, Costa is in goal for Guernsey. They have decided that Costa is the number one. R.I.P. Manny Wilford. And in fact, looking at the team here, you can see Costa, 62 appearances to his name. He was the main man. Elsewhere, Grasser and Sweeney right up there. Is it just me or has Sweeney got better? Sweeney's very good, isn't he? Alanis got 31 goals to his name. That made him top goal scorer. Behind him was Matthew Cadman as well. So the English boys still doing very well. Why is Lemos loaned out? Gustavo Lemos on loan at Chelsea, joining permanently at the end of the season. What has happened here? What has happened? No. They've got a 28 million for him. I'm legitimately upset. He played 3 games and then they loaned him out to Chelsea. He's actually played well for Chelsea as well. Doesn't look like they did any more massive sales after I left the club, although Lassiaz, one of the youngsters that I snapped up thinking he'll be good in the future, he left without ever playing a game. They've sold him for £12 million. I bought him for £9 million. I guess it's technically profit, isn't it? Can you spot the thing I've just noticed? The bank balance. Negative £145 million. I mean, it's great they've won the league again and the FA Cup's been won. That might be a problem in the years to come. And by might be a problem, it almost certainly will be a problem. Most assists, by the way, went to Eric, which is not entirely surprising. He's a very good central midfielder. The man behind him was Ryon Ohashi, who, of course, we gave that monster contract to as we left the club. He's had another really, really good season. Not quite scored as many goals, but given the team has scored like 40 less league goals this season, it's not entirely surprising to see that number drop. In terms of the wages, Ohashi is still the top earner on £240,000 a week. I've noticed here, Craig Sweeney's now on £210,000, which is absolute madness. Perhaps I should have mentioned this sooner, but with this kind of in the future setup where we go forward a few seasons at a time, today we are going 1, 2, and 5 years in the future. Next time we'll do 10 and 25 years. After that, 50 years? Maybe 100 years if I can get it to sim that far. Just a thing to stress, these save games are all going to be available for download on very, very soon for Patreon supporters as part of just a perk you get for being a Patreon supporter for the YouTube channel. These save games will be available, including the future ones and the end of the save game ones, in around a week's time. I will tweet out when they're live. I may even do a video saying, hey, the Parks of Prem save games are here, because I know people like to get their hands on them. So yeah, just be aware of that. It may even be now in the description that the stuff is available for Patreon supporters already. And in fact, just one other little thing to be aware of, if I miss anything in this video, if you notice any oddities, because I only have 2 eyes, 1 pair, it's hard sometimes to spot everything, let me know what you spot down in the comments, because sometimes people notice stuff that I don't, and I am blind. I mean, so far, good start since I've left the club. Yeah, they've not won the Champions League, but a 3rd Premier League title, a 1st FA Cup. Zidane's not done terribly so far. Now, I think it's time to go a year in the future. 2 years down the line, is Zidane still going to be in charge? What's going to be crack-a-lacking? Let's go see. The year's 2042, Carl Farquhar, he still hates me. He's not letting the grudge go. Did he find a job yet? No, I don't think he's going to find a job either. As for Guernsey, bank balance, negative £154 million. That stands out immediately. Elsewhere, Craig Sweeney is now listed as the key player. He's definitely got way better. Like, he is world's best centre-back good now, right? Yeah, I mean, I would describe him as that. I signed him for £75 million. Suddenly, he actually looks like he was worth the money. Interesting to note as well, he is considered the top player at England's kind of national team level. Cadman is runner-up as well, so everyone liked that. Everyone enjoyed that. Paul Parkin also sneaking in along the bottom, although he is injured at the moment. I feel like he's been getting injured a lot. Is that a case, or am I just making up facts? He's been getting injured a little bit. Anyway, as for the Guernsey team, I mean, I can see from the recent fixtures, they've had quite a good season. Zidane still manager. When does his contract run out? Because his contract did run out at the end of this year. Okay, they have extended it. So he's done an okay job there. In terms of Guernsey's actual season, though, if we just look at the schedule, they finished the season by winning the Champions League, the FA Cup. They won the Premier League as well, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know why I've clicked on this game against Wolves, but good to see them beating Wolves. Wait, Monteiro? It's not different Monteiro to our Monteiro. Compared to last season, though, they have absolutely run away with the league. I mean, look at this. They are 15 points clear at the top. Man City, who pushed them all the way to the limit last year, not doing quite so well. And in fact, you can look at things here. It was quite a good season for them. I've sorted the fixtures by attendances. They beat Man City in the Champions League final. I mean, you can see what happened here. They won on penalties. And Demir Presecalo, the guy who I signed for £12 million, he scored the winning goal in a Champions League final. By winning goal, I mean the goal that took it to penalties. In the FA Cup final, they took on Newcastle, won 2-1 here, deserved winners. Interesting to see the players they played in this game. Why did they play this team in this game? This is like a very rotated team. I can see what's happened. Football Manager's done Football Manager things. The FA Cup final clashed with an international break, I reckon, at the end of the year. So all the players went on international duty, and all the players that didn't leave on international duty played in the final. I blame Football Manager for this. Actually, that's technically a database issue. So, yeah, glad that didn't impact me. There was also the Club World Championships 2 years in the future. You can see here the final was won by Guernsey against Man City. I feel like Man City must really hate Guernsey in this universe. And if you're wondering how they won it, Zidane beat his former Arsenal team, beat Bayern Munich, beat Man City. They beat a lot of very good teams to make a Club World Cup final, and then win it. I mean, at this point, do I have to be concerned that Zidane's doing a better job than me with the team? I mean, he's won the FA Cup, Champions League winners, Premier League winners twice, Club World Cup winners. Imagine if he ends up in the legends ahead of me. I will say, just looking at the favoured personnel, I am still the only legend at the club. I've still got that going for me for now. Now, in terms of transfers they did this season, obviously we knew Lemos was leaving. Did they sell anyone else of note? Diallo left. Teixeira left. They got £9 million for Teixeira. I'm almost impressed. In fact, thinking about it, I think Angel here that they signed from Liverpool was a player they loaned with an agreement to sign last year, so he's not even a new signing. What that does mean is that all these players here that actually played a load of games are just players that I signed. It's just my team that he's been using. He's basically my assistant. I mean, here is the team sorted by appearances. As you can see, Craig Sweeney's up there. Maicon Costa, still the number one. Hasn't quite improved as much as I'd expect, but I say that. You look at his career milestones. He's still winning quite a lot award-wise, so I'm sure he's not that bothered. Top goal scorer this year went to Huntjens, which is interesting to see. Yeah, he got 6 goals last year, 10 goals this year. They haven't really got one singular standout goal scorer. It does look like they rotate things quite a lot. In fact, you can see here with Alanis, he actually only played 20 Premier League games this year. I've also noticed, did he play much in like the Champions League? Doesn't look like he must have played in the Champions League, right? He might not have played in the Champions League. Of course, with the size of this bloated squad, there is a reasonable chance that there is going to be certain players that just didn't make the cut for squad registration stuff. Pereira, one of the Uruguayans that we picked up as a youngster, he is actually broken into the first team. He looks pretty good at 21 years old. You can see here, he's in the seasonal best 11 for this second season. And if you're wondering, what, Jack, did the seasonal best 11 look like? You can see how they're lining up here. Coppo, Sweeney at the back, Archer at right back, Adu Jamfi at left back. I mean, this is still very much my team, but Sula making a bit of a name for himself out on that right-hand side. All this has really done so far has cemented in my mind that we ended the save game at the right point, because the AI is doing very, very well with the team. I am a bit concerned about the finances, but I mean, now we're going to go 5 years in the future. So 3 more years. Is Zidane still in charge? Half a decade later, how much of this core 11 is still actually going to be here? Can I just give a shout out to Grace Potts? As I simulate into the future, every week she's still coming up to me and going, the Huddersfield job's available. Not sure why I'm still hiring a personal assistant, really, but Grace, not getting back in the game, I'm afraid to say. Potentially good news. Apparently, Farquad no longer has a worst opinion of me. I assume he's retired. He was such a bad manager, no one ever offered him a job. I mean, I'm not entirely surprised. But here's the thing we're really here for. Guernsey. 5 years in the future, there's a Club World Cup going on at the moment that they're in the group stage of. If I click on overview, we're going to find out who is in charge. Is it still Zidane? It's not still Zidane. Gallardo is manager. Gallardo, in the last few parts of Prems, I feel like replaced me as manager. I'm pretty sure that's a thing. I don't think I made up a fact there. I feel like he always ends up at whatever team I've managed in Football Manager. Now, he joined the club, 2 years ago? So Zidane had one more season. Did he achieve much in that season? Yeah, he achieved a little bit. And then Gallardo's come in, and Gallardo's won back-to-back Champions Leagues. Is this just a Guernsey era now? Zidane didn't win the Champions League in 42-43. Gallardo's come in. He's now won it back-to-back years. FA Cup past winners, Guernsey haven't won it. In fact, Zidane bottled it in the final against Man City. I feel like Guernsey and Man City is a proper rivalry in this future universe. But yeah, no more FA Cups. Premier Leagues, on the other hand, slightly familiar tale. Guernsey have now won the Premier League the last 6 years in a row. So in Zidane's final season, they won the league by 6 points over Manchester United. You can see the rest of the Premier League table here. Gallardo took over. They won the league immediately. 8 points clear at the top for the 43-44 season. And most recently, 12 points clear at the top yet again. This Guernsey team's pretty good. Now, in the final season that Zidane had, and I've noticed it here, NLB LBM the second, my final signing at the club. He's gone to Blackburn. He's actually a pretty good striker, if I'm allowed to say that. He's got 15 goals in 24 Premier League games, which is a 23-year-old. That's not too shabby. I would be very surprised if he doesn't get any caps. However, probably not Guernsey quality. Elsewhere on the outs, Ortega has left to go to Bayern Munich. He was one of the youngsters we picked up in our final few seasons. Ignacio Perez has also left the club. He is now playing... he's on loan at PSG. We sold him. I've said we again. Guernsey sold him for £56 million. He's been on loan for the last year at PSG, and now PSG are trying to sign him for £59 million. He's not really developed that much, I feel like, in the last 5 years. Weber did also leave the club to go to Bayern Munich. He went there for £11 million. He's now on loan at Chelsea. What is it with former Guernsey players getting signed by clubs and then getting loaned out to other big clubs again across Europe? It's very weird. There was a load of players loaned out as well, as you may have noted here. So, it looks like they were struggling, the AI, to manage the squad. In terms of the big signing in that third season, Jose Luis Filgueira, here he is, 29 years old. He's about to leave the club to join Tottenham for, can we see how much for? £31 million. They spent £65 million on him. Not a great big transfer. Not a great first big transfer since I've left. Lev Gridin here also joined the club from Shakhtar. He actually looks really, really good, the centre mid. He looks... faith in the AI has been restored. Anyway, in the two most recent seasons where Gallardo has taken over, here are the transfers that have happened. Iago was signed for... how much... They've signed Iago for £20 million. They've signed this bloke for... I hope they've not sold anyone. Sort by fees. Who's gone? Who have they sold? Rios went to Manchester United. Janfi went to Lyon. Paul Parkin left to go to Leipzig. He left to go to Leipzig, and then he got second top goal scorer in the Champions League for Leipzig. Why have they sold him for £33 million? What? I mean, they loaned him to Man City for half a season, and then he's gone to the Bundesliga and started tearing it up. I'm very annoyed. Also, he won the World Golden Ball. He's won the Ballon d'Or. They sold Paul Parkin for £33 million to Leipzig, and he wins a Ballon d'Or. Okay, then. I have also noticed here, it gets worse. McKillop sold to Manchester United for £17 million. And he's played regularly for Manchester United in his defence. So for all the people who said, McKillop, he's not Premier League worthy, AI Manchester United disagrees. In the most recent season, they have actually started to splash the cash again, the AI. Vito Vidic was signed, how much for? For £95 million. If I sign this bloke, I feel like you guys would not let me live it down. This is a shocking transfer. He doesn't look that good. Tom Hatton was signed from Manchester United for almost £50 million for this bloke. I hope they've kept plenty of our players around. It looks like they have. In terms of players who have left the club, a lot of the youngsters that I signed for the future, it looks like they've just kind of released, which is somewhat problematic. Jose Mané's left to go to Porto. Luke Steer has gone to Union Berlin. Surprised he's not developed more. I felt like he had a really good future ahead of him. I say that. I mean, he's won a few Champions Leagues. He's done okay, really, with his career for a 24-year-old. Few big sales in the most recent season. Coppo went to Arsenal for £44 million. So both Rios and Coppo have left the club. Danny Archer left for £12 million, the right back as well, although he is getting a little bit old. So maybe it was smart to cash in on him whilst they could. And Steve McDonnell, who I thought was going to be the long-term right back option at the club, came through the academy. Yeah, the 23-year-old is now playing for Crystal Palace, where, to be fair, he is at least getting regular minutes. Now, bizarrely, having looked through those transfers, I don't think the team's changed that much in the time that I've left the club. In fact, here's the starting 11 for their final game of the season. With the exception of Lev Gridin, this is just a team, and Vito Vidic, actually, this is just the team I left them with half a decade ago, isn't it? Top goal scorer, Alanis. I mean, Jaime Alanis, rather good at that football stuff. He's now on £275,000 a week. Cadman has 40 goal contributions. He's very good, isn't he? 56 goals in 88 games for England. Just as a reminder, signed for £16 million. I mean, at this point now, he's had 8 years of getting back to back, that 8 times, double-figure goals. He's done pretty well. Lev Gridin did lead the way with assists. Then it was Cadman, Sula. Ohashi not having the best of seasons. Rion Ohashi, 29 years old now, still putting in some pretty good ratings, but a poor season by his standards. I say that. by his standards. Then you look at the average ratings of this team. The majority of the first team players have very bright green, shiny average ratings. They're doing all right. Still a little bit worried about the bank balance. Still negative £231 million, but I'm sure it'll be fine, right? Hopefully it will be fine. Mention Champions League wins. You can see here, Guernsey beat Newcastle in the final this season just gone. Gallardo winning it twice in 2 years. The other year, Guernsey were able to beat Real Madrid in the final. So Guernsey certainly starting to pad out the kind of trophy cabinet, aren't they? Where's the visual I want the visual trophy cabinet. Where is the... Do you know the thing I'm looking for? Here it is. The visual trophy cabinet, official screen terminology. 6 Champions Leagues, 7 Premier Leagues, 1 Club World Cup, 2 FA Cups. I mean, let's be honest. All this is really cemented in my mind is that given how well the AI's done, the next few seasons, had we continued the save game, would have been rather straightforward. So today we've dived 5 years into the future. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Like I mentioned earlier, if there was anything I didn't spot, any oddities, little quirks, stuff like that, let me know them down in the comments. Just as a little reminder, we will still have the end of season recap video, or end of series recap video where we look at the whole series, but I feel like doing a few of these in the future videos first maybe adds a little bit of context when we then go back to look at the save game at the point that I left it at, so putting that on the back burner just for a day or two so we can do these in the future videos. Speaking of which, we will next time be doing the 10 and 25 years in the future videos. If there's stuff that I didn't show here that you desperately want to see, please do let me know it. I will look at stuff like record holders 10 years in the future. I feel like a decade is a nice kind of round amount of time to see what's happened over the time at the club. But one thing I have noticed is the team hasn't changed that much. And in fact, you can see just with this little panel in the bottom corner of favourite personnel at club, there's like a lot of players here with over 400 appearances for the club in the league now. We've had some loyal eggs in our team. I don't want to end the video on a down note. Brandon Charles, obviously, he was a Guernsey under-18 coach under me. He got fired. He's a free agent. I mean, that's sad, isn't it? Right, folks, we're going to end things there for this first instance of Guernsey in the future. I hope you guys have enjoyed a little look through a window into the universe that could have been. We're going to continue to do that next time out. If you've got any comments, feedback for this video to take into the next couple, please do leave it down in the comments. Let me know what you thought of the future that Guernsey has. And besides all that, link down in the description for Patreon supporters to get the save games a week early. Should hopefully be live very soon. I'll have a pinned comment confirming that that's the case. Be sure to check it out. And if you are one of the supporters on Patreon, I don't really mention you guys a great deal in contributing 2, 5, 10, however much you contribute a month. You do genuinely really help support the content directly. I am massively, massively appreciative for it. Will Gallardo still be manager? Will Guernsey run out of money? Will they win more Champions Leagues? You'll have to tune in next time to find out. Until then, take it easy. It's me, Jack, and I'll see you all again on the next one. I'm out.